welcome to all of you. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll note we've got a great gender balance on this panel. Rather unusual at the Munich Security Conference. So it is my great pleasure to welcome the President of Finland, seated here on the left. He is Mr. Sauli Niinistö. He has served as a Member of Parliament and as the Speaker of the Finnish Parliament. He has also been Minister of Finance, held leading posts in European financial institutions, and because our title references cops, I would like to note that he started his public service career as a rural police chief in Finland. So he is, in fact, a cop, but a very good one. Exactly. Seated next to him, it is a great honor to have with us the Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina Wajed, who also holds her country's defense portfolio. Her political career has spanned 4 decades. She has served 2 previous terms as Prime Minister, also headed the opposition, and led the political party Bangladesh Awami League since 1981. Great honor to have you here, Madam. Next to her, it's a pleasure. We're going to save our applause for later so that we get even more time for discussion. Next to her is seated Margot Wallström. She is Minister for Foreign Affairs for the Kingdom of Sweden, with a portfolio that includes responsibility for security issues. She has extensive international experience in human rights, development, and gender issues, and she has served as a Vice President of the European Commission, as well as European Commissioner for the Environment. Great that you could be with us today. And next to her is seated United States Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who has the reputation of being one of Congress' foremost climate hawks. He is co-chairman and co-founder of the Bicameral Task Force on Climate Change and was a co-sponsor of the Climate Security Act, or more recently of the Carbon Fee Act, a law or a bill which faced rather formidable opposition from the other party, and we may pick up on that a bit later on. And finally, it is my very great pleasure to welcome on our panel Mary Robinson. She is president of the Mary Robinson Foundation for Climate Justice. She was president of Ireland from 1990 to 1997, and she served as UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, as UN Envoy for the Great Lakes region of Africa, and as UN Envoy on climate change. So, Prime Minister, would you care to give your statement?
I'm delighted to join you all at Munich Security Conference. The world is now on an uncertain journey. The concept of national security is going through fundamental changes. Climate change has become a new element of national security. I would highlight 3 major components of climate change. First is food security. Production and quality of food, both are severely hampered by the impacts of climate change. We need to develop climate change resilient cropping systems which are tolerant to flooding, drought, and salinity. We must ensure the access of small and marginal farmer to essential technologies. Second is water security. Scarcity of safe and fresh water for life and livelihoods are becoming acute among others. Due to climate change, global attention should be accorded to the efficient use of water and its effective governance. I would repeat my call, go global leaders, for creating a global fund for water. Third is climate-induced migration. Millions are forced to move internally and internationally because of climate change. This is direct bearings on social and economic resources, resulting in new security concerns. The 2016 Global Risk Report suggests that forced migration and climate change are biggest risks for global economy. Bangladesh is making every possible attempt to achieve low carbon development path. Out of our own resources, we established $400 million climate change trust fund in 2009, our success in disaster management is followed and replicated by many countries. As part of our commitment, we have undertaken coastal greenbelt projects along nearly 900 kilometers of the coastline. Around 4.5 million solar home systems have been installed across the country. By 2018, Bangladesh will emerge as the largest solar nation globally. The Paris Agreement has been a reflection of political solidarity of the world leaders in securing people and planet from the threats of climate change. The outcome of the Marrakesh conference was not much encouraging. The spirit generated in Paris can't be lost. Climate change causes security concerns by adding pressure on resources. It may also result in instability, violence, and conflicts. In all cases, national security could be jeopardized. Climate change is a global issue, and its solution should also be global. It requires combined, concerted, and coherent actions. Non-compliance by one state could threaten the survival of all. We must, therefore, share responsibility for ensuring security. Bangladesh has adopted the plan after COP15. COP15, I was present there. I was one of the core members. 25 members committee was formed that time. So after COP15, then we decided that we should not wait who will assist us or not, but we should start by our own. And that way we started establishing this fund with our own budget money, and now what we have done, I have mentioned it. So climate change, it is really very, very important. Maybe it may not be important for all, but for us. Like we are from, just seaside. So in the southern part in our country, if 1 meter rises, the sea level rise 1 meter, then many of our people will be in distress. So it is very, very important to implement the Paris Agreement, what I feel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Let me ask two of you to make it just a little bit more, or three of you to make it a bit more concrete for us in terms of threat multiplication. I'll start with you, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh, one figure that I saw, as many as 50 million Bangladeshis could wind up displaced and in flight by the year 2050. Is that correct? It's an astonishing figure. It's a troubling figure. Would you say that is correct? And if so, what's your assessment of how well prepared we are to deal with that kind of clearly human disaster, but also security risk?
Well, I already mentioned that if the sea level rises, then definitely, people have to migrate. But the point is, our country is the land boundary is very small. It is 160 million people we have. So if may not be 50, but by 2030 it will be 50 million people have to migrate from those areas. Then where we can place them? That is a big question. So what I feel, the commitment made by the world leaders, they should not forget it. They should implement it. In COP15, my experience is the leaders of the country, when a leader talks, I feel it is country's, opinion. So the commitment they made and the problem, the way they raise it, but sometimes we feel that they don't stick to that. And we receive many commitments from many leaders or many international organizations. But what we receive, especially the vulnerable country, because we are not emitter, we don't do emission, but we not only our country, small island countries, even some other countries, they will be sufferers. So, what will be their future? There are many islands, it can be submerged. Then where those people will go? I don't only think about my country, the future of my country, but also we should think about those people also. And we have adopted SD 30, United Nations already adopted to develop 2030 agenda, SDG. So if we want to implement SDG, then definitely we have to think about the effect of this climate change. You cannot just close your eyes and just back out from that agenda. So that's, I feel that, yes, I am very much worried about my people, the future of my people, that if they migrate, then where they will go, how they will stay, what will be their economic condition. We want to develop our country. Already we reduced our poverty level. When I became Prime Minister, before that it was 47%, now we reduced to 22%. I have targeted that within these 2 years we will reduce another 5 to 6%, then within 2030 or 2021. Before 2021, we want to reduce another 7 to 8% so that we can declare our country as a poverty-free country. But this, because of this climate change effect, if I have to migrate our people from those areas, then what would be their future? How they will live? What will be their economic condition? So, what I feel, the promises we receive, yes, we definitely, I can tell you one thing, this is my experience, that we only received very big promises since COP15 till now, but practically we received nothing, or especially the vulnerable countries, they received nothing. So the war would be their security, food security, livelihood, and all other things. So that's why I feel that it is a global phenomenon, no doubt about it, but all the developed countries, those who are really responsible for emission, they should contribute. That is my point. Thank you.
Come back to you again, Prime Minister Hasina. It was, of course, in large part in response to the Obama administration's initiative that two of the biggest Asian CO2 emitters, namely India and China, got on board at Paris. That was very much a kind of a quid pro quo. If you do it, we'll do it. If the U.S. is being perceived in Asia as rolling back its commitment to Paris, what consequences do you think that would have for some of your Asian neighbors? Your microphone. Sorry.
Bangladesh, our geographical position in such a way that, we always think that we should have a good relationship with all the neighboring countries, including China, India, and also South Asia, Southeast Asia. Now, as you know, that most of the poor people living in this area, so we need development. We never expect any conflict should rise in this area, especially our two big neighbors. Now, the question you asked me, I think it is very difficult for me to answer that what will be the consequence, but what I feel and what I try that all the country, we should focus on our people. Because of climate change or any other issue arises, it should be solved bilaterally. First must be bilaterally, and then, if necessary, all can work together and resolve it. Now, what US will do, it is up to them. Because, during COP15, what I noticed that time, like US was much more initiator of COP15, that means this, climate change issues. But now, what we feel that somehow they are just back foot, want to go to, they are not taking any responsibility, or somehow they are reflecting that it is not much important and this and that. So at this moment, it is we are watching the situation. Frankly speaking, we are watching the situation. We want to see where it goes, where it stands. But definitely, because we have to ensure that our people, the poor people, they should get their basic rights. Right to food, right to shelter, right to medication, right to education, right to living a better life. So what I feel that world need a very peaceful situation, peaceful manner, which is very, very important. So all the developed country, they are already developed. But what will be our future, the developing one? They should think about it. What will be the future of our poor people? Because our commitment to the poor people, we do politics for the people. So we want to ensure them a better life. But any conflict, any situation arise, that will hamper the development. So we cannot afford to accept it. We want a peaceful, atmosphere. That much I can tell you now, because it is very, too early to make any commitment, any comment about US or China or India, or there's a big country. We are a very small country. I'm thinking about my own country, my people, how to ensure them a secure life. That much I can tell you.
Thank you very much.
Ina Jilani, I'm one of the elders. My question, or let's say a plea, is to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. You take a great deal of interest in the climate change issues, and you have very clearly outlined the dangers you see for your people. But in your region, there is India, there is Pakistan. Both India and Pakistan are already worried, or at least the people are worried, about the glaciers we are losing now in the Himalayas. Sri Lanka is worried. It's an island nation. And Nepal also shares part of the mountain ranges. Why don't you take the leadership in waking South Asia up to this issue and bring your fellow leaders in South Asia on the platform very firmly to strengthen the global commitments towards the preservation of whatever we have already seen in COP15. You are in a good position to do that.
Would you like to respond, Prime Minister? You can also do so bilaterally without a mic, if you prefer.
Well, the country you mentioned, already we have an organization called SAARC, and all South Asian countries are there. And
They never meet.
they meet, but sometimes some international conference, because of some reason, it may be postponed. But we are hopeful. We can meet and we can discuss about it. But about taking leadership, actually, I am leader of Bangladesh. I want to remain as leader of Bangladesh. That is true. But yes, of course, what I want that all the country, what I mentioned, even in our region, when I meet with our leaders, we told them, I said that we have only one enemy, that is poverty. All the countries like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, or other around the countries, even China, Myanmar, everywhere, most of the vulnerable people are there, most of the poor people are living there. So our effort should be how we can develop our people's economic and social condition. That is our main aim. Here, whenever I met any of the leaders, I always approached them. Do you remember when Pakistan and India, both the country, you tested nuclear bomb? There was a big, tension raises in our area. Then I took initiative. I visited both the capital, met both the prime minister. I didn't follow the protocol. I just directly called to Prime Minister of Pakistan and also Prime Minister of India that I want to meet you. Because if you do that, then our country and the people of this region will be in a very vulnerable position. So we don't want any kind of tension. Now, but each country, they have their own problem and they have their own region or own issues. We cannot solve everything, but at least we can take some initiative that yes, maybe with neighboring country you may have some problem that can be solved bilaterally through discussion. But I think the first thing that each country, they should take their own initiative. We are there. If necessary, we can assist them. But the leadership, I am not that much capable one that I can do it. I represent a very small country and my people. So whatever I want to do for my people. But definitely I think about other people in the world also, that where there is a scarcity of food or drinking water or sanitation or medication or education, whatever it is, definitely I want that people, they are human. So they should have their human rights. They should have their, they should, the global leader, everybody should take steps and care. But these two countries, yes, sometimes the tension arises and again the tension go down. But I think as because you also represent one country, so why don't you put pressure to your leader to have good relationship with neighboring country? In our part, already we have done it. We have a good relationship with all the country. Our foreign policy is very clear. Friendship to all, Malays to none, and I maintain it. I can tell you that since I formed government, first time in 1996, we solved many problems. And then the second time, this is my third tenure, I maintain good relationship all over the country, no doubt about it.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you very much. And I would like to say thanks so much for being with us. Bye-bye.